Shalom, my Israelite brothers and sisters. First of all praises to our Elohim and to his holy son, Hamashiach. So I want to address an issue, something that seriously needs to be discussed and addressed and talked about. And I'm going to call this one, the so-called black churches are robbing our people senseless. Now I'm talking about this because we have a serious problem within our people who are constantly not paying attention to the things that are going on around them, not paying attention how duped they are by giving all their money to these black churches. Let me let y'all in on a little something, y'all. Y'all know Jim Crow never left. Jim Crow has always been here since slavery. The only thing they did was just take the signs down. That's all they did. And we're coming into a time where it's going to be twice as bad as Jim Crow. Now, I'm telling you all this, brothers and sisters, because we see the signs all around us. We see the increased discrimination. We see it. And there's countless. I can't even keep up with all the situations and things that are happening across the nation against our people. I mean, it's in the thousands. And this has been going on. And the only reason why it wasn't so big of a deal back then is because we didn't have all the technology, all the camera equipment to record the stuff. You know, now people can record stuff and put it on Facebook, social media, and they can see what's going on. But our people are still blind to the fact. They still think that we need to love these heathens. They think that by loving these heathens, everything is going to get better. Well, how long is our people going to continue to be blind? How long is our people not going to see that these heathens do not like us? But yet we turn around and we take our money, and it's bad enough that we're getting treated the way we are by these heathens, and we give it to these dumb dogs who won't bark. These wicked Sunday Christian ministers. And let me tell you what they're going to do with your money. A lot of our people take their money to these churches thinking that they're putting their black dollars into the black community. But all they're doing is making these pastors rich. Now, these pastors, they're going to grease the palms of some of these elders who are up on their game. But they're going to take the rest of that money, they're going to pocket it, they're going to put it in the bank. They're going to buy them a little Bentley, nice house. And we ain't talking about no little small 4-bedroom house. We're talking about some mansions now. And so when they put this money in the bank who is owned by the elites, your Rothschilds, your DuPonts, your Rockefellers, all your elites who own all these central banks, they take that money, that same money that our people are giving to these wicked pastors. The bank takes that money, loans it out to the heathens with much higher loans so they can go build in the inner cities, which is called gentrification, and raise the prices up to push the black folks out of the communities. They've been doing this for years. They've been doing this since the 70s. And it's been growing ever since, and it's gotten much worse. You go to any major city, downtown area, you're going to see how beautified it is. And that's what happened. All that money that's being loaned out to these heathens have been done purposely, because there's been black contractors who tried to get loans like that and they couldn't. But they give them to these heathens who go in and contract these jobs so they can build the inner cities up, buy all the property so they can push the so-called black folks out. And then you wonder why you keep giving your money to these wicked churches and you're still broke and you don't have no community. You don't have anything of your own, because by thinking that you're giving it to these churches, you're thinking that you're giving it to the community. All you're doing is giving it to the heathens, because these banks are run by the heathen. These churches are run by the heathen. You know, Malcolm X said it best. If you're going to have a strong black community, you need to keep those black dollars within your black community, not by giving it to these churches, but by starting up businesses. Black Wall Street was a prime example. And if you all research Black Wall Street, they were the most successful people probably on the face of the earth. And this was not too long after slavery. This was around in the 1920s. Had over 500 black-owned businesses, had everything. They didn't need nothing from no one. But the heathens got jealous, and you know what came next? The heathens got jealous, and they took their little plane and bombshelled the place. You see, the heathens, they are scared to death because they know what we're capable of if we come together. But here's the problem that I want to discuss, is that our people don't know that. A lot of our people, I'm not going to say not all of our people, but a lot of our people don't think like that. They don't understand how much spending power they actually have. They just don't. And let me let you in on a little secret. Now, a lot of people think that our people spend the most money on these pagan holidays. Now, that is correct. Our people do spend a lot of money on these pagan holidays. But that don't come close to what I'm about to show you next. Because, see, these pagan holidays, and I think it was last year, if I was looking at a quote, blacks alone spent like $1.5 billion just on Christmas alone. Now, that is a lot of money, and you think what you can do with that money if it was used the right way in the black community. But again, it's our thinking, brothers and sisters, and I truly believe that the Most High, He's waking His people up, and they're starting to realize that. A lot of them are starting to realize that. You have a lot of Hebrews who are waking up, starting their own businesses. But if our people are going to understand what's really going on and how the heathens are constantly keeping our people down, then they're never going to see it. They're going to have to open their eyes up, wide open, stop being duped into giving all their money to these Christian churches that are not doing anything for the black community or for the members in their church. Yeah, sure, they may take up a little donation for you if you're having a heart transplant or something like that, but it's not going to be much. You think that they're going to take that money, all that money, billions of dollars that these churches are getting, you think they're going to take that and divvy it up among its members? No chance. They're not going to do that, because the love of money is the root of all evil. And that's the problem with these Christian churches. These ministers, they love money. They love it too much, and they're going to pay a high price for that. So let me show you where all the money in the black community is going. And I'm going to show you this article, and it's going to blow your mind, because I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. And that tops all the pagan holidays that our people spend all their dollars on. Now, I'm going to leave a link to this article as well in the comment section. But check this article out. It says black churches have collected, get this, saints, 420 billion, not million, 420 billion. Let me read on. And this was posted in May 14, 2013. It says Harlem World Live Steve's research shows that black churches in aggregate have collected more than 420 billion in tithes and donations since 1980, with a Senate investigation into the finances of several mega churches underway. The prosperity movement, y'all hear that? The prosperity movement is not what these preachers are preaching. This prosperity movement, is that what's making them so rich? Has been the target of mounting criticism from inside and outside the black church, specifically the affluent ministers of the Reverend Creflo Dollar, Bishop Eddie Long, and others drawn the attention. So, this is crazy, y'all. I mean, wow, this beats the pagan holidays by far. 420 billion collected in donations and tithes since 1980. Now, imagine if the black communities took that money and used it the right way, we could build an empire. But see, our people have been so brainwashed by thinking that they're giving to this white Jesus that they're going to be blessed, thinking that they're giving to these black churches that they're going to be blessed. And it's like the Most High is cursing them even more and more, but they still don't get it. The light bulb has not gone off. Nothing has clicked, and they still have the spiritual blindness on them, and they're constantly still giving their money to these nonsense churches, these wicked pastors, who's all they're doing is taking their money and using it for themselves. And this hurts my heart, brothers and sisters, because it's like, for those who are woke, it's like, how can they not see it? And even, you know what, and even before I came into this truth, I never agreed with the whole tithe thing, because it was something wrong with it. I knew it was always something wrong with this picture. You giving your money to an organization that you don't get no returns and investments on? And yet, where's the money going to? It's not going into the communities. The pastors are buying their cars, their houses, putting their own kids through the nicest, most prestigious schools in the world. But yet, you got members sitting in there struggling, can't pay their rent, can't pay their light bills. And then when they want to ask for help, they got to go through the whole hoops just to get a donation. And it's probably no more than what they really need to pay their light bill or whatever. It's crazy, brothers and sisters. And it's sickening to the core. And I know that the Most High is totally fed up with it. And that's why we're seeing a lot of judgment on these wicked nations and on a lot of our people. And these wicked pastors who are constantly thinking that they're scot-free, they think that just because they're making all this money or they're working for the church, they're doing a ministry, that they're not going to be touched. Well, I got another thing for you. You just wait. These ministers are getting ready to get bit by their own venom. Now, you see what already happened to Eddie Long for raping little boys. You know, and all this time he still denied it, even at his death. But we see what's getting ready to happen, brothers and sisters. We see it, plain and simple. And our people are constantly giving money to these dumb dogs that won't bark. All your money to what end? To stay dumb, to stay null and void, to stay absent of freedom. You know, the Bible says the truth shall set you free, but our people don't want to be free. They don't want to be free. They want to continue to live in slavery, and will swear up and down that they're doing the Lord's work because they're giving their tithes and offerings. Well, I'm going to show you that tithes is not even talking about money. And I'm going to show you the verse these wicked pastors love to go to. But yet they want to say the laws are done away with. Yeah, the laws are done away with. We don't have to keep the laws no more. Jesus fulfilled the laws. But yet, by the way, make sure you pay your tithes, because we still want your money. That's their objective. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're playing our people to no end. It's a crime, shame. All right, go ahead and turn in your Bibles to Isaiah chapter 56, verse 10. Isaiah 56, verse 10. And it says, his watchmen are blind. Talking about the watchmen, the people who are supposed to be leading our people. The very black men who are supposed to be the shepherd for Yah's people are blind. They are all ignorant. Yeah, the laws are done away with. We don't have to keep them no more. You can continue to worship the pagan holidays. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. And that entails all their gratification in these dollars they're getting from our confused people, our deceived people who are constantly giving them their money. Now, let me tell you something. And this would make headlines. If every single black person just woke up and says, okay, I had enough of it. I had enough of this. If they stop going to these churches on Sunday, do you know what kind of precedent that would set? That would shut every Christian church down. I'm telling you. And I know that's wishful thinking, but it's happening. A lot of our people are waking up. And I'm going to share something with you after we get into some scriptures, because there's another movement that's on the rise. And you're going to know what it is when I tell it to you, because this movement was started to offshoot those brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters who are waking up in the truth, who are actually coming to the realization of these tithes not being the truth of what these ministers are preaching. So they started this movement to try to offshoot it. But I'm going to save that, because I want to get into some scriptures. I want to get into Malachi and show you that the tithes that they're referring to is not even talking about money. So let's go there. Let's go to Malachi chapter 3, and we're going to read verses 8 and 9. It says, will a man rob God? You know, these preachers, they love that part. Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offering. You know, they stop right there. They stop right there. They read that one verse, and that's it. In tithes and offering. And then they go on about this rant about how much you need to pay, why you need to pay your money to the churches, and why you need to give, and such and such. Verse 9 says, you are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. But let's go further, because, like I said, they stopped there. But we're going to go further into what this is talking about, because there's 3 key words I really want you to pay attention to, brothers and sisters. 3 key words. All right, let's jump down to verse 10 of Malachi chapter 3. And it says, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith Elohim, if I would not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Okay, so first of all, let's go back. So let's look at these 3 key words that I was telling you about. So we got the storehouse, windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing. So let's talk about this storehouse. Now we're gonna go. We're gonna go to Deuteronomy, and I'm gonna read some things to you too, because it's gonna talk a little more about this storehouse. But this storehouse was a place where the Israelites stored their crops. So a 10% of their crops were stored in this storehouse, because the Levites, they didn't have the inheritance. So whatever the rest of the Israelites, the other nation Israelites, the other tribes, whatever they grew, 10% of that had to go into the storehouse. And that was for the Levites and for the widows and for anyone who couldn't afford food. Or like for example, you know, let's say you had a family and the mother and father died, you know, it would go to take care of them. And that's what this is talking about. And then when you read down, it says, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. The windows of heaven, brothers, is talking about the rain. It's talking about the rain coming down on the crops was always a blessing for crops. And it goes on to say, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. So in other words, the Most High blessed the crops of the Israelites. Their crops were plentiful. They had plenty to go around. They had plenty, so they would take a 10% of that and store it in their own place. And it was for the Levites, because the Levites did not have an inheritance. And I'm going to show that to you when we go to Deuteronomy. But yeah, you got these wicked pastors who take this verse and they only read verse 8 and 9 and they stop right there. They don't even compare with other scriptures. They just use that. But yet they want to say the laws are done away with. But yet they want to keep this one. So that goes to tell you how ignorant these people are. You know, and these are our people who are misleading Yah's people. And they're going to pay a damnable price. They are going to burn, and they're going to probably burn just as long as the heathens for deceiving Yah's people. All right, so let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 14, and we're going to read verses 22 and 23. We're going to get more deeper into what tithing really means. So let's start with verse 22. Thou shalt truly tithe, get that, saints, thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed. What is seed that it's talking about? It's talking about the crops. It's talking about what you plant in the ground to grow, the seed. This is not talking about money. And remember, we read Malachi, it says, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse. But we're going to get more of that here in a minute. So I'm going to read that part again. Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed. And tithe, brothers and sisters, just simply means 10%. That's all it means, a tenth. That's what tithe is. It's a tenth. It says, thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed, that the field, get this, that the field bringeth forth year by year. So it's super clear that it's not talking about money, but tithing is talking about your crops. Because it says, it goes on to say that the field bringeth forth year by year. The Israelites always planted. Everybody had land that they planted crops. They grew all kind of stuff. Just about every vegetable you can think about. Let's go to verse 23. And thou shalt eat before Elohim in the place which he shall choose to place his name there, the tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, of thine oil, and of thy firstlings of thy herds, and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear Elohim always. So this is the rest of the precepts to Malachi chapter 3. So let me reiterate on this a little more. It says, choose to place his name, thy tithes of thy corn. They grew corn, thy wine. Yeah, they made their own wine. Our forefathers made their own wine. They made their own strong drink as well too. And you're going to see that in the next couple of verses. And of thine oil, the biggest oil producer they produced was olive oil. And the firstlings of thy herds and of thy flocks. So it wasn't just the crops, it was the animals as well. The tenth of that. That thou mayest learn to fear Elohim always. The scriptures are super clear, brothers and sisters. It's that you got these wicked pastors, because they love money so much, they take that one verse in Malachi and use it against our people. To con our people. And I'm going to call it for what it is. Con our people out of their money. Con them senseless. And now you know why I chose that title. These so-called black churches are robbing our people senseless. So senseless that they're too stupid and dumb to figure it out. But yet they turn around and continue to give all their money to these churches. And I've already showed you a clip, showed you an article, how much money they gave since 1980. $420 billion. For what? What kind of investments came out of that? Nothing. All you did was fill the pockets of these wicked ministers. That's all you did. All right, let's get a little deeper. So let's go to verse 24 and 25. And it says, and if the way be too long for thee, for that thou art not able to carry it. In other words, if you're carrying all this stuff, these crops that you produce from your seeds that you grew in your garden, in your land, or if the place be too far from thee, which Elohim shall choose to set his name there, when Elohim hath blessed thee. Get this, verse 25, pay attention. Pay very close attention. It says, then shalt thou turn it into money. So in other words, they could sell what they had and turn it into money. And it says, and bind up the money in thine hand, and shalt go unto the place which Elohim shall choose. So in other words, if they couldn't carry everything, they can sell it, use it up, bind it up for money, and then they would normally buy more seeds with that money, whatever they wanted, whatever their hearts desired. And it's going to talk about that in the next verse. But they can buy whatever they needed to buy with that 10%, with that money that they sold the crops for. It's very interesting, brothers and sisters. And I would really encourage you to do even further study on this too. All right, let's go to verse 26. It's going to start getting good, brothers and sisters. And watch this. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. So in other words, going back to the last verse we read, take that money. If the place is too far, you can sell that crop, turn it into money, bind that money up. Verse 26, and thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink. That's right, brothers and sisters. And there's nothing wrong with drinking strong drink. We just can't get drunk off of it. That's the problem. You know, we do everything in temperance. And it says, and for whatsoever thy soul desireth, and thou shalt eat there before Elohim, and shalt rejoice, thou and thine household. Now, when you get a chance, read that verse over again slowly, because that's important, brothers and sisters. And it's going to get even more detailed. And this is where that storing up is going to come into play. Storing up within your own gates. And then you're going to see what the meaning of the word storehouse, because it was just a place. A storehouse wasn't a particular place. It was within every Israelite's quarters, wherever they stayed at. That was their storehouse. That's what they stored up, that 10%. And it was for a particular group of people. And you're going to see who that's for here in a minute. All right, let's jump down to verse 27 and 28. And I want you to pay close attention to this one as well, too. And it says, and the Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him. Y'all hear that? Thou shalt not forsake him. Now get this. For he hath no part nor inheritance with thee. Well, what was the purpose of the Levites? The Levites were the priests. They provided the ministry. They were like the priest of all of Israel, all the Levites, the men. They were the priest. So they had no inheritance with the rest of Israel. But get this. Let me read that again. It says, and the Levites that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him, for he had no part nor inheritance with thee. Verse 28. It says, at the end of 3 years thou shalt bring forth, get this, there it is again, all the tithe of thine what? Increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates, or your storehouse. It was the place where they stored their crops and their animals, brothers and sisters. That's what the tithes were for. Not these wicked pastors talking about you pay your tithes and you give your money. That's not what that's talking about. And I challenge you all, when the next time your pastor asks for tithes, bring him some tomatoes, bring him some lettuce, bring him some onions, and see what he say. And you tell them that the scripture specifically told me to do this, and see what they say. And you can share the videos with him, with these wicked pastors, share it, because I'll back everything up by the scriptures. So when they ask for tithes, give them some vegetables and see what they do. Come in there with a bucket full of tomatoes and carrots and squash. Come in there and see what they do. They'll look at you like you crazy. What are you doing? Hey, this is what the scriptures demanded, and you wouldn't be lying. Let's go over to the last verse in Deuteronomy chapter 14. Let's jump down to verse 29. Now we're going to see what all this they stored up within their gates was for. Who was it for? And that's the bottom line we want to get to. So verse 29, and the Levite, because he had no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come and shall eat and be satisfied, that Elohim may bless thee in all the work of thine hand. Thy hand, what do you use your hands for? To plant the crops, to plant the seeds. Thy hand, which thou doest. The scriptures are plain as day, brothers and sisters. And you cannot say, after going through these scriptures, that tithe is talking about money, because that's not what it's talking about. Now, you can use it in reference to money by a tenth, but that's not what Malachi 3 and Deuteronomy 14 is talking about. Okay? And we do not have the Levitical priests today, so are we Are we demanded to continue this? No, because we're scattered people. We are not a nation, brothers and sisters. So we cannot. So this is something that they did. This is the way how the Most High had everything set up. The way He had it set up, He had a system set up where nobody went hungry. Nobody went without. Everybody had what they needed. That was the system that the Most High set up. And guess what? When the Most High gathers His people back up again, we're going right back to that. We're going to have a system where nobody, no Israelites, we're all going to have, brothers and sisters, we're going to have so much land, it's not going to be funny. And, the scriptures is plain and truth in what everything is saying here. But yet you got these wicked ministers who want to deceive y'all's people by trying to twist scriptures and using it to gain their financial empire so they can build off of it. But yet our people can't see the light. Time after time after time, they continue to be deceived, to be blind to their own errors, their own ways, giving their money, thinking that they're giving tithe to these ministers for a good cause, where it's being used against them in a very bad way. And the same money that our so-called people are giving to these churches is the same money that's keeping our people from rising to the top. But we know that the Most High has a hand in all this. We know that this thing is not going to last forever because the Most High is getting ready to destroy these nations, these wicked nations that have conspired against our people for hundreds of years. And unfortunately, our people who are caught up with them, our people who are caught up in this madness, this Babylonian system, they're going to be destroyed along with the heathen, sad to say. But for those of us who are woke and the ones that the Most High are getting ready to wake up, it's going to be on. It's going to be on. And there's still a lot of people who are very sincere, a lot of our people, but they just haven't waken up yet. But they will. And a lot of our people are going to wake up in the last hour. And when they wake up, brothers and sisters, it's going to be like a complete 360. They're going to drop these churches like a bad habit. Christianity is getting ready to get a wake-up call, and it's going to have a dagger slapped right straight in his heart. But as long as our people remain null, dumb, and void, they're never going to see it. They're going to continue to wallow in their errors, and they're going to continue to follow after these evil ministers and continue to give their money constantly. And our people, they don't want the truth. They want the smooth things. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 10. Isaiah 30 verse 10. It says, which say unto the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. And you see a lot of our people, they don't want to hear the truth. And I know a lot of you all been witnessing to your family members, your friends and co-workers, and just letting you know straight up, and you've already witnessed, I'm sure, that a lot of them you met resistance with, because this whole thing is strange to them. It seems like a cult to them. They can't understand it because our brains have been so washed down with the drug of Christian insanity that it's destroyed our brains. The Bible says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Hosea 6:4. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And it's because of that lack of knowledge that we have been destroyed. There's an old saying, ignorance is bliss. And that must have had our people names written all over it because, goodness, I just can't fathom. It's just how at the bottom we really are, and we can turn things around with the snap of our fingers if we wanted to. Because it's not like we don't have spending power. We have the spending power. The problem is that our priorities are in the wrong place. And that's the problem with a lot of our people. That's why Christianity is a hell of a drug. because it just messed our people's minds completely up. And this all stems from slavery. Because what is slavery? What did they do to our forefathers? They told them, no matter what we do to you, we whip you, rape your women, throw your babies to alligators, all kind of manner of evilness. No matter what we do to you, you still gotta love us. And they say it with a smile on their face, as though they haven't done anything to our people. But yet they said with so much confidence, you're supposed to love us. And guess what? Our people fall for it. And they turn around and love these heathens, love their slave masters like they've never loved anybody else. And I'm going to tell you something. If a lot of our people loved themselves or loved one another like they loved their slave masters, we would, the Most High would have been that came already. He would have came and tore this place up and delivered his people. But the Most High has to keep delaying his coming until we get our acts together. But I'm going to tell you something, brothers and sisters. The Most High is not going to delay no longer. He is not. And the more we continue to be ignorant, the worse we're going to be off, because the Most High is not going to continue to wait for us. He's just not. So, brothers and sisters, we got to get our acts together now and stop playing these games with the Most High. All right, turn with me to Jeremiah chapter 23, and we're going to read verses 1 and 2. And it says, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith Elohim. Verse 2, therefore thus saith Elohim of Israel against the pastors that feed my people, ye have scattered my flock, and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, saith Elohim. Brothers and sisters, I truly believe in 2018 and the years to come, we're going to see great judgment among these wicked pastors who are misleading our people. Because it's a serious thing to keep our people in darkness for your financial gain. Because you want to buy you $1 million house, you want to buy you a Rolls Royce or a Bentley or Mercedes, because you want to have all these things with the people's money. You're going to pay a heavy price for that. Now, let me talk about this new movement that's on the rise. Now, there's a term that's going around called Christian Hebrews. Now, I'm showing you this picture because these three brothers got together. Now, they didn't just get together by themselves. We know the heathen is behind these things that they're doing. So these brothers, the first brother here is Pastor Darby, who is now deceased. The guy in the middle, I forgot who that guy was. And then on the guy on the far right, that's Pastor Omar. But they were supposed to do a Negro tour land prior to Pastor Darby's death. I don't know if that ever took place or not. But let me tell you the whole agenda behind this thing. Now, some of you seen these brothers preach, and you've seen some of their teachings, and I think Pastor Omar has he calls it the School of the Hebrews. But anyway, they got together, came up with a plan, and I'm saying because the heathens, I know for sure that the heathens were behind this, because or whoever had other wicked pastors behind this, because a lot of our people are waking up, brothers and sisters, and I'm going to tell you what's happening. They're coming to the realization of these false teachings about the tithes. They're realizing that, okay, these tithes is not even talking about money. So our people that are waking up, they're not giving their money to these churches anymore. And they're taking a big hit. A lot of these churches are taking a sort of a hit. It's probably not a huge hit, but it's enough to where they can come up with something to try to offshoot the real thing. So let me tell you a little bit about this new Christian Hebrew movement. So the people behind this Hebrew Christian movement are very smart. And let me tell you how. Because now that our people are waking up, the real awakening by the power, the Spirit of the Most High, who is truly awakening his people back to Torah, That is the real awakening, brothers and sisters. This new Christian Hebrew movement is the false awakening. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to show you why. It's because the people that came up with this were very brilliant. They said, look, these people are waking up. They're starting to keep the commandments of the Most High. They stopped worshiping the holidays that we love so much. They stopped paying their tithes to the churches. So we got to do something about this. We got to find a way to offshoot this, the real awakening, so that we can put the people back under our control again and get their money. So let's do this. Let's take the name Hebrew and add Christian to it. And we're going to call ourselves Christian Hebrews. We're still going to disapprove the law. We're going to say that the law is still done away with. Okay? We're going to say we're going to still worship on Sunday, the day of the sun, God Tammuz, and we're going to continue to keep the pagan holidays. Now, you see how brilliant that is, brothers and sisters? You see how that can offshoot, because think about it. Think about it. The name Hebrew attached to Christian Hebrews, sounds very appealing. Now, I read the verse in Jeremiah 2 where it says, in Isaiah, where it says, they said unto the prophets, prophesy unto us smooth things, prophesy unto us deceits. See, the problem with our people is that we love to be comfortable. We don't like to hear something that's going to challenge us or that's going to prick our minds, our hearts. We want to hear the smooth things. So this new Hebrew Christian movement is doing just that. It's doing the opposite, complete opposite. It's even worse than Christianity, because see, now you're attaching the word Hebrew to Christian and you're calling it a movement, but you're still worshiping on the first day of the week, which is the day of the sun god Tammuz. You still are telling your people that the laws are null and void, and you're telling your people it's okay to eat anything and everything, and you're telling your people that it's okay to worship pagan holidays. You're still celebrating that stuff. That's dangerous, brothers and sisters. That's very dangerous. That's worse than Christianity. But this movement is not going to be successful because the Most High is already shutting it down, brothers and sisters. He's shutting it down. And you cannot you can never replace the real awakening with the fake. It's just not going to happen, brothers and sisters. See, the problem with this is that you can't attach your name Hebrew to Christian and you don't want to keep the laws and you want to say the laws are done away with. You can't attach the name Hebrew and you still want to celebrate the pagan holidays. You can't attach your name Hebrew and you're talking about tithes, give your money, yet you still want to rob the people. You haven't changed one bit. All you did was just add a name to Christianity, to a Christianity movement that's already been in play for hundreds of years. So, Satan, everything that the Most High has truth for, Satan has a counterfeit. Remember that, brothers and sisters. For everything that the Most High has truth for, Satan has a counterfeit. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 4. I'm going to read verses 3 and 4. Let's see what's going on right now. This is taking place as we speak. Verse 3, it says, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. They will not endure the laws. They will say it's done away with. They want to continue to celebrate these wicked pagan holidays. They want to continue to deceive everybody with tithes and offerings. It says, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. And I'm going to go ahead and read verse 5. It says, but watch in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. We got to be vigilant, brothers and sisters. We got to be watchful because there's so much deception out there, especially in following man. And, you're going to always go wrong when you follow man. You can never go right by doing that because you're going to always be deceived. And now I'm going to talk about another group of people. I'm going to talk about these wicked ass camps because that's another group of people who are misleading our people. they're pushing this fake European chart, brothers and sisters. And most of y'all already know that the gig is up on that. I do not subscribe to that European chart because these camps want to add these Europeans and call them Israelites. I'm talking about these native Hispanics, these Cubans, these Mexicans, these Hispanic people. And guess who's the first people they go after in these camps? They go after these Hispanic women while dogging our daughters of Zion badly, just dogging them out. You know, it's like they hate their own people. They hate their own women. And these camps are going to face the same judgment as these wicked Sunday ministers, you know, for deceiving Yah's people. It's an abomination, brothers and sisters. And all this was started by Leroy Bibbins, this old ugly Negro at the top. All this mess came out of New York City. All these lies these camps are spreading. And you know, they're gonna have hell to pay. They really are. And especially with this European chart that they pushing. You know, but I got some words for you camps. The gig is up. You've been busted. And y'all heard about Tazadakia, the one that's in yellow. He was arrested. He was indicted for embezzlement of something, $3.5 million, something million. I think he's out on bond now. So judgment is happening at the house of Elohim, brothers and sisters. It's happening. And these people better wake up and repent because they've been following a lie and they're deceiving our people and making our people, causing our people to marry these heathens in these camps. Because that's the first people they go after is these white people. I mean, it's a mess, brothers and sisters. It really is. It's just a mess. But the Most High is getting ready to clean house. He says, let the wheats and tares grow together, and he's going to separate them. It's time to make a decision, Saint. It's time to make a decision. Whose side you going to be on? You going to be on the side of Elohim, or are you going to be on the side of man? And it's crazy, brothers and sisters. It's like we're getting hit three ways. You know, we getting hit by these wicked-ass camps that want to mislead Yah's people. Then we getting hit by these wicked ministers who want to constantly rob Yah's people. And we're getting hit by the heathens. I mean, that's a lot of hit, y'all. That's a lot of hits. And we can only take so much before we break. And, you know, the Most High he's getting ready to set the record straight. And once and for all, he's going to destroy all wickedness. And all these people who are just doing our people wrong, misusing our people, they're going to face punishment. They're going to face the lake of fire. You know, and I've already vowed, and I've told you all, time after time, I've vowed to be a trumpet. I'm going to sound the trumpet as hard and as loud as I can, brothers and sisters. And I don't plan on stop. It's the Most High's will. And so, you know, we all got to play a part in this, brothers and sisters. Revelation 14:12, here's the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of Elohim and the faith of Hamashiach. That's what we got to be, brothers and sisters. These laws are so important. And if anybody comes and tells you that these laws are null and void, you need to set them straight. If they won't listen, then shake the dust off your feet and move on. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, we are living in some crazy and exciting times. We ain't got long. And, you know, we can't predict the time or when things are going to happen, but we know that we're living in the final seconds of Earth's history. These nations are going to be destroyed. Little by little, they're going to be destroyed. And we're seeing that right before our very eyes. So I pray, brothers and sisters, that you are edified by this. I pray that you will continue to study aggressively. And I say that, I say that harshly, aggressively, because that's the way we have to be. We have to study aggressively. Because we don't have long. We got to get everything that we can get. So I'm going to leave you with that note. And so, brothers and sisters, it's always an honor to serve my Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters scattered to the four corners of the earth. I say shalom and stay strong.